Hi creatives, I am Dima and you're welcome to another interesting sewing tutorial. On today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how to cut a stylish underbust ruched shoulder dress with flea. If this sounds like what you're interested in, then you have to stick around till the end to see how I achieved this beautiful dress. This dress is divided into three parts: the upper ruched part, and of course the middle midriff, and then the lower flare. Okay, the flare and the midriff can still go together depending on what you want to achieve. I'll put all of that through in this tutorial. So I started the tutorial with a plain paper, just as you can see, and I had to place it on fold like this. Then rule a starting point and then mark the neckline. Neckline, you're going to measure 3 by 3. If your client is on the bigger side, you have to use 3.5 by 3.5. Just as you can see me do, you go ahead and connect these two together. So you go ahead and measure your shoulder divided by 2 and rule a vertical line like so. Now the third thing to do right here is to drop by 1 inch and connect to the neckline, just like so. Now the next is to go ahead and mark your bust measurement divided by 4. Anything your bust measurement is, or the bust measurements of your client, just divide by 4 and mark, just as you can see me do, and rule a vertical line. Please ignore my measurements, it's from a miniature form. So right here I measure, you have to measure 5 and go in by 3/4. So after that, you go ahead and mark your armhole measurement divided by 2. I'll put in the link the link to a tutorial in the description box, tutorial on basic bodice block and of course basic torso foundation, so that you know how all of this was achieved. So the next is to go ahead and mark your front half length, mark it and rule a horizontal line across like this. So after ruling this line, we will go ahead and continue with the pattern. So you go ahead and extend this, okay? Extend your shoulder measurement by the amount you want your sleeve to get to. If you look at this diagram, you know that the sleeve got to about 12-13 inches from the shoulder tip, okay? That is what you're going to measure from the shoulder tip. So after that, you're going to measure here down 9 inches. Please pay attention with the inches I am mentioning in this tutorial. So right here, I omitted something, but what I'm doing here is the waist measurement divided by 4 plus that intake. You have to observe the dart intake of 1/4 because most times the underbust tightening adds 1/4 inch to what the usual dart intake of 1 inch should have been. Okay, so right here you can see what I have, and yes, I've connected this point to the waistline. Now the next thing to do is to take the gown length. Anywhere you want your gown length to be, go ahead and take it right now. Take it from this starting line and draw a horizontal line across. So after that, I had to go ahead and measure where the hip line is. So take that and then measure your hip circumference divided by 4. That is the measurement I took here, and I'll connect it to the waistline and go ahead and take it straight up to the hem of the dress. Or you can take the measurement you want, maybe add a certain value to the hip measurement and make it the value on the hemline and connect as you can see me do, so that it will look like an A-line skirt or dress. So after that, the next is to go ahead and drop your neckline here by the amount you want, but I can assure you that about 6 inches is perfect, or 5.5 from the basic neckline is perfect. So I had to connect to the V like this. So the next thing you're going to do now is to mark the bust level and the bust to bust. Bust to bust is from nipple to nipple, okay? That is what gives bust to bust. Go ahead and measure the under bust as well. That is what I noted there. So after that, you're going to connect, because we'll be using the under bust measurement to draw this shape. So this is how you're going to draw it, and then where I'm shedding will be going off at the end of this pattern. So you go ahead and draw a line from bust point to the neckline like this, and take 3/8 inch on both sides of that line, or go ahead and take 3/4 inch. Okay, so what you take here is 3/4 inch, please. That is to tighten the neckline so that it does not gape. Now the next is to go ahead and draw your dart. So connect it to the bust point, just as you can see me do. Connect your dart to the bust point like this, and go ahead and do your under bust tightening. So I had to mark a little horizontal line there, and this side I'll take 3/4 and this side is 1/4. Now you're going to draw this and join it to the waistline. Also do the same for here, and you can see that it has increased the waist by 1/4, which I have taken care of by the side. Okay, so after that you can see what I have, but see, I missed the side bust dart in this pattern, which will make me to go ahead and redraft something about this upper pattern. Every other thing is correct aside the side bust dart. So right here I have connected the tightenings to the bust point, and this is what I have, and you can see how beautiful the pattern is looking already, but then without the side bust dart, which is very, very important. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and rule these lines. Don't worry about the side bust dart. I am going to explain all of that as we progress in this tutorial. I actually wanted to forget about posting this video, but on a second thought I said no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to explain how this is done, because it's very, very important. It's going to help the fit of the dress. You can't omit it. Besides, the front half length is not the same with the back, and you have to take in that so important. So you can see what the dress looks like right now, and I'm going ahead to cut it out. So after cutting out, I'm going to go ahead and redraft the upper of this. So this is the bodice, still the front pattern, and I have gone ahead to add the side bust dart, just as you can see, and I marked the underbust. Just every other thing that I did in the other one, this way is 3/4 and this other way is 1/4. So I had to go ahead and connect to the bust point like this, and connect this other way to the bust point as well. Then I'll take this to the waistline, which has increased the dart, and then take this one again, just in case you did not understand the first time I said all of this. Now this is the opportunity to hear it again. So go ahead and drop your neckline. I said 6 inches is fine from this basic neckline if you want to get exactly what we have in the pinned picture. So connect to the side of the neck like this, and then go ahead to connect this to the underbust and take it all through to the side, just as we did the first time. Now the difference between this and the first one is the side bust dart, and you're going to see all of the alteration that is going to go on with this. So pay close attention. So what I took is 3/8 inch from both sides, which is 3/4 inch total dart here. So this is a contour guideline to ensure that the neckline does not gape. Okay, it will sit really perfectly. Now you can increase this, but if I increase it, it's not going to allow me to close up the side bust dart. But now I'm just trying to explain some of the things I did in the first one. Right now I'm not going to do all of that because it's going to affect the closing of the side bust dart. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this front basic pattern and then show you what next to do with it. So you can see that all of this was what we did except the side bust dart, and I'm going to close up this neckline contouring just as I did for the first one. Okay, so watch closely to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to close it up like this and go ahead and stick it down with my masking tape. So after that, I'm going to close up the side bust dart. Now that is what we missed from the first one, and this is very, very important. Trust me, you can't omit it. So I have to close it up like this and then go ahead and stick it close. You can't omit it except you're using a shoulder dart pattern like Natalie Bray. That is when you can do away with the side bust dart. But for what we are doing right now, we have to do it because what I used the first time was not Natalie Bray, rather I missed putting the side bust dart. So having done that, you can see what the pattern looks like now. Now I will go ahead and place it on another plain paper like this and modify it further to look like what we got in the first place. So right now I'm going to pin it down, and then I'm going to go ahead and measure. So I'll take the length of the sleeve just as I did the first time. Okay, so go there and drop there by 1/4 inch and take that as a guide to where the length of the sleeve will be, which I said you can take it as 12 or 13 inches from the shoulder to come down by 9 inches and connect this to the waistline just as you can see me do. Now I'm going ahead to trace all of that and you can see what it looks like. The next is to go ahead and cut out. So this is what the upper front will look like. And we cannot omit the side bust. That is very, very important. But this can happen as you make your patterns, but the ability to realize quick and make corrections is very important. Don't try to pamper it. Make sure you take the right step to correct whatever error happens during pattern making process, because it can happen. This one is actually an omission. All right, so you go ahead and draw your slash lines just like we did the first time. So having explained all of this, we will continue from where we stopped in the first pattern. I hope you understand right now. So this is what I have. So I'll go ahead and draft the back pattern before we proceed with slashing and spreading of the front. So I'm going to go ahead and draft the back, and to draft the back, you will mark a starting point like this. So after marking the starting point, we will measure the shoulder measurement divided by 2. Go ahead and make a vertical line like this. So go ahead and drop by 1 inch. Then after that, take 3 by 1. 3 by 1 or 3.5 by 1, depending on how big your client is or whoever you're making it for is. Connect this slope to the neckline, and then go ahead and take the bust measurement divided by 4. That is what I'm taking right here, and you will draw your vertical line like this. Now the next is to go ahead and take the back half length, which I just marked, mark it at 2 or 3 points and draw a horizontal line like this. So this is what we have. I had to drop here by 5 inches, go in by ½ inch and connect like this to draw the armhole. So I'm going to use my curved rule and draw the armhole like this. Check the link in the description for basic pattern making tutorial, basic bodice block tutorial, and basic torso foundation tutorial. So right here, I'm going to draw by 1/4 and use it as a guide to extend to where you want the length of your sleeve to be. You drop this by 9 inches. I said the perfect length for the sleeve should be between 12 to 13 inches from what we have on the pinned posts. So here I am taking the waist measurement plus ½ inch that intake, and I'm connecting this place to the waistline. Notice that I did back tightening of ½ inch. So this is what I have. I'm going to mark the basic neckline and ensure that I drop this. So here I had to bring out my earlier pattern so that I will drop the neckline a bit lower than the front neckline. I want it to be like 1 inch lower than the front neckline. Okay, you know I use depth of 6 inches for the front. This one will be 7 from the basic front neckline. I hope this makes sense. So after that, this is what I have, and I will go ahead and put up my curve. Ensure that this curve meets the side exactly where the front pattern also meets the side, so that everything will rhyme. So I'm going ahead to mark the middle so that I'll take my dart. So here I'm also taking the same point for the middle of the dart so that the dart can be completed. So that is what I did, and yes, this is what I have. For the back, you don't need any side bust dart, and that is why we drafted straight. So this is what it looks like, and I'll go ahead and draw the slash lines that will be slashed and spread after drafting this basic pattern. So this is what I have. If you want, you can, cut the flay together with the midriff and slash and spread, but I want the dress to have a midriff so that it will be fitted just as you can see on the pinned posts, okay, or pinned picture. So this is what I have, and I'll go ahead and cut out the back tightening. So this is what it looks like after all of that. This is lovely. You don't need any contouring for the back because that back V started from the basic neckline by the side of the neck, so we don't need it. So here I have cut out the front pattern. You know that the one you will use is the one with the side bust dart, right? That is why I repeated it. I had to correct it. So the upper, you have to use the one with the side bust dart, the one I corrected. That is how you're going to make this upper. I hope this makes sense. So right now I'm tracing out the dart so that I will take it in, because the midriff will be cut separately. So this is the midriff, and I'm taking in the dart. After taking the dart in, I will go ahead and use my masking tape and tape it down. So this is exactly what you're going to do. Don't miss any step in this tutorial so that you don't have a pattern that does not sit right. So while cutting it out, I'm going to take care of that inequality there. Yes, It is called truing of pattern. I will true the pattern to make it, to equalize that unequal parts on the pattern. So right here you can see what I have. I'm going ahead to slash and spread, and I had to repeat again. The pattern you are going to use for this front is the one with the side bust. That is why I put that correction there. Okay, so right now I'm going to draw the shoulder line like this to be a guide as I spread. So as I spread, I am cutting out. I spread as I cut out. Okay, watch closely to see what I'm doing. So I'm spreading as I cut out so that I will not miss the line. You can spread the lower part smaller than the upper part if you don't want a lot of gathers under the bust. Okay, you can actually, that is one thing with pattern drafting, like flat pattern making. You can achieve anything you want with your pattern. I hope this makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it so you can make the slashing, the spreading, to be the way you want. So towards the shoulder you can make it wider than the one that is under the bust area, so that the gather under the bust will not be too much if that is what you want. But if you want it to still be equal, that is fine. So but as soon as you get to the sleeve, you're going to spread it equally to get exactly what we have there. So you're going to spread, and I will advise that you use a spread of about 1 inch or at most 1.5 inches for your spread while spreading. Okay, so I'm going to connect all of this like this. It's very important to mark where your side waist is. Very, very important. Okay, so this is the front pattern now, and I'm going ahead to cut out. Please do not omit the side bust dart pattern. That is the correct pattern, except you are using Natalie Bray basic bodice block or shoulder dart basic bodice block. That is the only time you can omit the side bust darts. I hope this makes sense. So after that, this is what I have for the front pattern. So I'll go ahead and cut out the midriff for the front. As I said earlier, this midriff can be joined to the flay. Yes, it can be together with the flay, and you cut it out together with the flay and slash and spread together with the flay if you don't want the midriff to be different, like to sit differently. I hope this makes sense. You can cut it together, join it together with the flay and spread it with the flay if that is the style you want. But I want mine to be cut separately so that the fit on the waist will really come out nicely as it is in the pinned post. So you can see that I have trued that area. That, yes, I have trued it, I've equalized it, and this is what I have at the end of the day. So this is the pattern, and you can see how lovely it is. We are going to ruche this. So I just notched the side where the side is, because if you don't notch it, you're going to be confused at the end of the day where the side is after you have spread it. So now this is the skirt part, and I'm cutting it open like this. I do not need the second part, so I'm going to make use of this. Okay, so I cut it on fold, that is why it is in two. But since I'm going to alter the pattern further, cutting it double wasn't necessary. So yeah, this is me folding the flay. If you want, you can fold it on triangle just as I illustrated now, but that is not what I want to do. But if you like your flay to be on triangle, you can do that. But if you want it to be like this, you can still do that. That's the same. Okay, it won't give you the same flow. The flow is different, but I think that personally I like both depending on what I want to achieve. The one you cut like this does not flow so much like the one that is cut on triangle or bias screen. So I'll go ahead and pin this one at the center front. Yes, if you don't want any flay line to be at the center front, go ahead and pin your center like this, and then you start slashing and spreading. So this is what I am doing now. I'm just going ahead to slash and spread. Please ensure that you do not spread so much. You can spread at most maybe 2 inches at the hem of your dress, so that your spread will not, so that your flay will not be too big. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pin. As I pin, I cut and spread. That is what I'm doing right here. Go ahead and do the same thing, and you will get a very beautiful result, trust me. So after pinning this like this, you can see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and cut out. Before I cut out, I'll ensure that all of the hem is equalized, and then I cut out. Note that I'm cutting this pattern without any seam allowance. So it means at the end of the day, you're going to be adding your seam allowances to it. Yes, I like making seamless patterns so that you know you are adding your allowance while cutting. That is how I make my patterns while making clothes as well. So this is what the flow will look like. You know this is on paper. So when you cut it on fabric, you're going to see the flow. Now at the end of the day, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and remove all of the pins and remove all of the papers on it because I don't need it anymore. And then I'm going to try and gather this on paper and use my masking tape and hold it down so that you see what the final result looks like. So I'll do it for both sides and you will see what the final result looks like. So this is what we have. So this is what your pattern is going to look like. This is the front part of this pattern. I'll go ahead and continue with the back pattern. So this is the back pattern which we have already drafted. I'll go ahead and cut out the midriff for the back. So I'll go ahead and take in the darts for the back midriff and tape it down with my masking tape. So after taping it down, this is what it looks like. The next is to go ahead and slash and spread the back pattern. Okay, that is the next step. So this is my paper. I'll go ahead and slash and spread. So I'll first pin it down, pin the back down, just as I did with the front. After pinning it down, I will start slashing and spreading. Notice that I started drawing this slash line from the shoulder tip. I started from the shoulder tip because I'm trying to get exactly the pattern that is on the pinned picture. But if your pattern, requires that you slash all through, you have to go ahead and slash all through. Okay, so you can see that mine started at the shoulder tip and slanted towards the underbust. So I'm going to be slashing and be spreading while using the line I drew on the shoulder as a guide. So that line will be a guide. You spread a spread of about 1 inch is fine. So if you don't want a lot of gather at the base, if you want more gather on the shoulder than the lower parts, go ahead and spread unequally. So but when you get here at this stage, you have to spread it equally. I hope you understand. 1 inch spread is fine, but if you want it to be very full, you can increase it more than 1 inch. Is up to you. Okay, so this is how I'm going to go ahead and spread all of this and pin it down just as you can see in this video. So what I mark now is the side and I'm connecting all of these lines so that cutting it out will be very easy. So this is what to do. You have to cut it out now just as you can see. And yeah, that is what I have. Cut out your neckline and this is the back pattern. Go ahead and notch the side. If not, if you remove all of these pieces, you won't know where the side is anymore. So I'll go ahead and cut out the midriff for the back. So I placed it like this and included zipper allowance. You know I don't like including zipper allowance in my patterns, but that is just to explain this to you. I followed the curve just like the back tightening, and you've seen that I've folded in the zipper allowance. Usually I don't put seam allowances or zipper allowances in my pattern, so that you know that while cutting you're going to put your allowance, right? So I've cut out the allowance. That is just for you to understand what I did. So I'll go ahead and ruche this and form my gather here and try to attach it to the midriff of this pattern, yes, of this back. The same flare that is used for the front is what we'll be using for the back. You just have to cut it open and add zipper allowance to the center back. That is what you're going to do there. I'll try and put a sewing guideline in the description box just in case you want to make this dress. You will know exactly step by step how to put it together. So this is what I had at the end of the day, and you can see how lovely it is looking. So you're going to ruche here, and I'm going to use my masking tape and tape everything down and show you what the final result looks like. You can agree with me that this came out really nice. You're still going to ruche here, and this shoulder you can use elastic to ruche. You can as well just gather it gather it like that, even without the elastic. You can gather it and stitch it. Yes, you can do that. It must not be with an elastic. Just know how much you're supposed to gather. Go ahead and gather it and stitch it down, and it's fine. So this is me trying to gather and, you know, take it down with those masking tape, and this is what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and do it for the second part and show you what the final result is. So this is the final result for the front and the back. You can agree with me that this is so beautiful, looking like the exact pinned picture. Follow the guideline I gave in this tutorial and you'll get a perfect dress with ruched shoulder. You can see how lovely this is looking. Go ahead and attach your flare to the lower side, just the way I explained in this video. Do for the front and then for the back. You can extend the sleeve. You know that this is an illustration and I used a miniature form, but I tried as much as possible to give you the exact measurements you will be needing if you want to get to draft this gown and make it. Yes, so this is what it's going to look like. Do you like it? Did you enjoy this tutorial? If you did, give me a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you think about this tutorial, and of course do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell to be the first to know each time I upload my videos. Here on the channel I share lots of sewing tutorials and of course pattern drafting tutorials, sewing tips, and all that you will definitely be benefiting from. Trust me, it will help your sewing journey. I'm not even kidding about this. Okay, so this is what you're going to do for the back. You're going to cut it open like this, and yes, this is what it looks like. Here is me illustrating how the back will look. Go ahead and cut this on fabric and put it together and try and let me know what your result is. I'll be very happy to know what your results are. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for always stopping by to watch my videos. I love you all, and of course I will see you in my next one. Bye.